Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and tomorrow's Thanksgiving, right? Reminder, if you're considering a Roth conversion, the deadline for this year's 12/31 Roth conversion. This is iTrustCapital. A Roth IRA conversion involves moving retirement funds from a traditional IRA or 401k into a Roth IRA account. When an investor carries out this particular conversion, it's counted as taxable income, but withdrawals during retirement can be tax-free. So whether you're wanting to look into this, you can talk to iTrustCapital, but also end of year is the final day for contributions if you already have these IRAs, a Roth IRA or a SEP or a regular IRA. So be thinking about that. This is the time of year I think about it. If you're going to just open an account, you can get a $100 funding bonus. You can open an IRA or a premium custody account. You can actually send your XRP right into a premium custody account. Go to iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army. I've been partnered with iTrustCapital for a long time, and I love, that's one of my favorite companies. Market's kind of boring right now, 215 XRP. This isn't boring.
Yeah, well, we're seeing breakouts in stocks like Apple and, of course, Google.
I love it, though.
So there's something for everybody. Yeah, Small caps today are working really well. We see the eco-weighted S&P. So it's not a bad time. The key is that we really need to accelerate, and that might take some time. I envision it's going to be a choppy time until the Fed, and then we can start to likely turn a little bit higher. So I don't think we're out of the...
December 10th could be the date. Don't go on vacation.
I think we need to bide our time. There's no certainty in terms of a rate cut just yet, and there's a lot of job owning, and it's difficult.
What if we don't? What if we fail to break out? I mean, what's the risk on the downside?
Well, the risk is that we take out these lows. That is the most important level on the whole chart for bulls and bears. If that's broken, then we're going to make an equivalent leg of this down before we move up, which is likely mid-December into mid-January.
Okay.
So it's choppy. There are things that are working.
And that's why you wait.
That's a good news.
And that's why you wait, because of the near-term vulnerability before the Fed meeting.
It's important to be diversified among tech and not just all in NVIDIA.
Same thing with MAGS. It's a very similar chart.
That's
same
right.
thing, same sort of setup.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we get over 66.11, that's a great sign. Technically, we've broken a little trend and we can start to move higher. But here also, a lot of momentum to the downside. So I suspect it's going to prove choppy before we start to turn back up, and likely late December. Yeah.
So overall, the S&P. Love it today. When I came into the studio, only two sectors are down. Even tech was only down like 0.00 something, right? So, I mean, to have a rally with these big names struggling is impressive. And, they don't carry the weight that they did. But it feels like if we close back above this 50 on strong volume, does that mean something?
I don't particularly look at the 50 as being critical, but look, to each their own. In 2018-19 and as well as 2023-24, the 50 was very, very difficult to use as a timing tool. You want to use the slope of the moving average, how far above or below you are to a moving average, not that per se, but it's great to see other groups working today, outside of technology.
Now, they're talking about the stock market, but make no mistake, that rate cut decision on December 10th, that could blast everything off. So, yeah, that could be D-Day. I just wanted to remind everybody, just 1 year ago, we were dealing with Gary Gensler saying, come in and talk, and then they were trying to build a case against crypto companies. And now we've got the acting chairman of the CFTC tweeting out, lock in. We've come a long way, haven't we? Now, this is great. This is Franklin Templeton XRPZ, their ETF, day one, 32.040 million XRP now under assets under management. Total for the day, 79,160,001 XRP taken in 1 day. He's making a very good point. 80 million XRP taken assets under management per day, 400 million in a week. 1.6 billion in a month is 19.2 billion in a year. And we don't know, and there's a lot more ETFs coming. There's only 100 billion XRP And XRP's burned on every transaction. Now, if you've ever had any doubt about whether the whole Bitcoin thing is a psyop, all you have to do is watch this. Think about all of the picking of winners and losers we've gone through by these regulators and politicians in the last decade in crypto. They rigged the game for Bitcoin, later tried to rig it with ETHgate for Ethereum. All this has been going on all this time. So why, and I keep asking this, why would Representative Warren Davidson now be calling for Bitcoin laws, but only for Bitcoin, not for all of digital assets? That's how you know that this thing is a freaking government-run psyop.
Introduced the Bitcoin for America Act, which would allow Americans to pay their federal taxes in Bitcoin.
And he will never answer my question, by the way.
Just about this.
Well, look, we're talking about affordability. That's just your dollar's been getting crushed. You know, the house that you live in didn't inherently get more valuable. The money that you measure it in got worth less. And gold is another indicator. One of the best performers in the past year or 2 years has been gold. And that's just one of the worst performers has been the dollar. So a lot of people hold other assets. Bitcoin's been one of the big rises over the last 10 years for sure. And you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin and avoid capital gains on that. But the president created a strategic Bitcoin reserve. How do you fund it? Well, having one control point, the treasurer, Secretary of Treasury, control it makes sense. But you can fund it with no government spending just by collecting Bitcoin as payments for taxes. So that's what the Bitcoin for America Act.
The only thing that makes any of this make sense is if they know that Bitcoin is doomed without some kind of permanent government advantage, because they know that when regulations come in and the institutions can actually come in and use the digital assets that are actually useful and have a utility to them, that it would destroy Bitcoin. I believe that's why they're doing this. And I think I got these out of order. I wanted to play this one first. Here's the reason. Listen to this. Charles Hoskins.
People ask, why are all the big businesses not blockchain yet? It's been more than 15 years. They all have R&D groups. Why is Microsoft not on a blockchain? Why is IBM not on a blockchain? Why is ExxonMobil not on a blockchain? Well, they all tried. And the reason that they're not, or they're only peripherally on the system, is because they can't expose their customer data, their proprietary information, and comply with the law in a completely transparent, auditable, and open ledger. So then they say, well, we'll have to do something off-chain. The challenge is the minute you do that, you re-invite in all of the problems of the centralized world. And so what we always wanted to do is say, can we build a framework that works for everyone everywhere, a layer 2 to everybody? So it doesn't matter if you're Ethereum or Bitcoin or Solana, it's neutral to all that. You can pay any token you want, and then have a ChatGPT-like experience for privacy.
Do you remember when this was said by the Van Eck CEO the other day?
Sort of one of the fundamentals. Now, there's something else going on within the Bitcoin community that kind of non-crypto people need to know about. And that is, ultimately, Van Eck has been around before Bitcoin. We will walk away from Bitcoin if we think the thesis is fundamentally broken. We don't right now. But you always have to look at the underlying technology. And the Bitcoin community has been asking itself about, is there enough encryption in Bitcoin? Because quantum computing is coming. And then secondly, is there enough privacy in Bitcoin? And so a lot of Bitcoin OGs or maxis have been looking at Zcash.
So it's a privacy issue. So they're telling you that they're willing to walk away. I think this is why they're trying to create this government hedge for Bitcoin, because they know what's coming. Here's the crypto czar, David, I'm drawing a blank on his last name.
Well, there are two technologies that I guess are relatively new, and so there's a lot of fear of them. And I think people don't necessarily know that much about them. They don't really know what to make of them. I think that from a policy standpoint, and we can talk about the similarities and differences, the approaches are a little different. I think with crypto, the main thing that's needed is regulatory certainty. All the entrepreneurs I've talked to over the years, they all say the same thing, which is just tell us what the rules are. We're happy to comply, but people, Washington won't tell us what they are. And in fact, during the Biden years, you had an SEC chairman who took an approach, which I guess has been called regulation through enforcement, which basically means you just get prosecuted. They don't tell you what the rules are. You just basically get indicted. And then everyone else is supposed to divine what the rules are as you get prosecuted and fined and imprisoned. So that was the approach for several years. And, and as a result of that, basically the whole crypto industry was in the process of moving offshore. And America, I think, was being deprived of this industry of the future. And so President Trump, during his campaign in last year, he gave a now famous speech in Nashville in which he declared that he would make the United States the crypto capital of the planet, and that he would fire Gensler. That was like the big applause line. I think he's talked about how surprised he was at what a big ovation he got at that. So he said it again, and the crowd erupted again. But in any event, he promised basically to provide this clarity so that the industry would understand what the rules are, be able to comply. In turn, that should provide greater protection for consumers and businesses, everyone who's part of the ecosystem, and it makes America more competitive. So I think that's sort of the mandate on crypto is, in a way, it's
okay. Then we got this from Eleanor Terrett. Just called with an industry source who recently met with a group of Senate Dems working on the market structure legislation. Source said one of the members noted that they are preparing a possible markup of bipartisan market structure bill the week of December 8th, and then December 10th is the potential rate cut. No comment from Senator Tim Scott office, but it would align with his recently stated goal of marking up the bill next month. The committee has yet to release bipartisan text. Meanwhile, this one said he wants to mark up the committee's text in early December. Senate is also in session the week after the 8th, so it's possible markups could land this week, 15th, before members leave for Christmas. As often is the case with Congress, dates are very rarely concrete. What I get out of this tweet, folks, is that this is happening because there's nobody that's resisting the legislation. There will be drama, but this is going to pass because it's national security. I've said that all along. It's going to pass. We're going to get it. And when we do, it is on like Donkey Kong. Now, folks, just a little reminder. This is from the 2008-9 financial crisis. It's not a coincidence that crypto was born out of the financial crisis.
We're down 50, but we should emphasize to everyone, it takes on a normal day quite a while.
Hell, the digital asset investor channel was born out of the financial crisis.
To get it open, we didn't have the futures trading this morning, so we're down 101. Futures market, interestingly, Mark, look at the huge gap between Chicago and New York.
The NASDAQ opens everything. They are down 110 points on the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
So that opens everything simultaneously. So that was the extent of the futures decline.
Yes.
And a little bit more.
All right. I saw some interesting things going around the last 24 hours about who might be Satoshi. We're going to go in the group today, and I'm going to tell you who I think Satoshi is, or who I think the group is. Go to DAIXRP.com. That's the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below this video. If you'd rather join through X, hit subscribe. We do the full video plus the extended video with no commercials. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Let me tell you who the guys are I think is Satoshi. Here we go.